Okay, let's begin. Please rise while the colors are posted. And salute. Former Congressman Michael McNulty will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Post. Please remain standing for our opening prayer led by Brooke Albert. While we're standing, please have a moment of silence in memory of former Assemblyman Pat Casal. Thank you all. Please be seated. Good morning. I'm Tim Forbes, the chairman of the Rensselaer County Honor a Deceased Veteran Committee. We're gathered here this morning to honor a deceased Rensselaer County veteran of the month of August, and that veteran is Samuel Abate. We're honored to have with us this morning his family, Anthony and Linda Abate, Michael and Clara Abate, Tony Abate, his grandson, and a granddaughter, Rachel, and a grandson-in-law, Jake Kamini. We're pleased that you all could make it. Also with us today to honor our Veteran of the Month are the Rensselaer County Executive, Steve McLaughlin, Congressman Paul Tonko, representing the 19th Congressional District, Max Prime, former Congressman Michael McNulty, New York State Assemblyman Jake Ashby, Kelly Hoffman, our legislative chairwoman, Robert Loveridge, our legislative vice chairman, Ken Harrington, the majority leader and chairman of the Veterans Committee, Ken Harrington, veterans, check me, no, I don't see that. Rensselaer County Court Judge Deborah Young. This morning, representing the Watervliet Arsenal, our new commander over there, Colonel Fisher, along with Matt Day. The legislators that are present here, Kenneth Harrington, Kelly Hoffman, Robert Loveridge, Carol Weaver, Tom Grant, and if I missed anybody else, sorry. As we are all aware, Memorial Day and Veterans Day are special days to remember all of our veterans. This program was created to help us honor our veterans year-round. To us here in Rensselaer County, every day is Veterans Day. The Rensselaer County Honor a Deceased Veteran Program represents veterans organizations throughout the entire county. This includes the American Legion, the disabled American veterans, the veterans of Lansingburg, the Military Order of Purple Heart, the Marine Corps League, veterans of foreign wars, Korean War veterans, Tri-County Council, Vietnam-era veterans, the Combat Veterans Motorcycle Association, Vietnam Veterans of America, the AMVETS, and also our own Rensselaer County Veterans Service Agency. I will now ask Kelly Hoffman, the Rensselaer County Chairwoman, to come forward and tell us about our honored Veteran of the Month of August, Samuel Abates.
Good morning. The other legislators would like to join me? One of our colleagues who is usually at this event, Legislator Dan Casale, as Tim had mentioned, his dad had passed away over the weekend. So normally he would be here. He's a very familiar face at these ceremonies, so we send our best to Dan and his entire family. So good morning, my name is Kelly Hoffman. Come on up here. He's our leader, our fearless leader. And our friend, Colonel Tom Walsh, will be with us also. Welcome to our monthly Honor a Vet program. Rensselaer County has a rich history of honoring our veterans that have served, dating back to the Revolutionary War. As a matter of fact, later next week, we will celebrate the 245th anniversary of the Battle of Bennington, that was actually fought in Walloomsac in the town of Hoosick. Today we celebrate the life and service of a veteran whose family immigrated to America to seek the freedom and prosperity that was attained and preserved by veterans that came before him. Samuel Abate was born in San Martino, Italy on January 8, 1921. And 12 years later, he and his parents and his three brothers headed to Troy, New York. After finishing his education in the Troy public school system, Samuel took a job at the Paragon Slipper Company in Cohoes, where he worked in the sheet metal department. In August of 1942, several months after the deadly attack on Pearl Harbor, Sam enlisted in the U.S. Navy. Apprentice Seaman Abate received his recruit training in Great Lakes, Illinois, and upon completion was transferred to the Naval Training School for Aviation Metalsmiths in Norman, Oklahoma. After his training, Sam was assigned to the USS Tangier, a seaplane tender that had survived the attack on Pearl Harbor and played a role in shooting down Japanese planes during the attack. On February 21, 1944, the USS Tangier left San Diego and made its way to Brisbane, Australia, before heading north to support General MacArthur's advance towards New Guinea. The USS Tangier would drop anchor for 3 months in Seattler Harbor in New Guinea. During that time, Catalina seaplanes would depart the Tangier to support landings at strategic islands around Indonesia. Just before Christmas, the USS Tangier left the islands off Indonesia and headed toward the Philippines, ending up in San Pedro Bay in the Leyte Gulf. The ship and its crews supported military operations in the Philippines and used their Catalina seaplanes to perform air and sea rescues. On January 24, 1945, the USS Tangier headed towards the Lingayen Gulf, where they would patrol the South China Sea. For the next several months, they would conduct search operations, perform anti-shipping missions, and support operations throughout the region. 2 weeks after General MacArthur announced that the Philippines were completely liberated, the USS Tangier arrived in San Francisco on July 20th. On October 4th, aviation metalsmith Second Class Abate was honorably discharged from the U.S. Navy at Naval Air Station, San Diego, California. For his honorable service to his country, he was awarded the Asiatic Pacific Campaign Medal with 2 Bronze Service Stars, the Navy Good Conduct Medal, the World War II Victory Medal, and the Philippine Liberation Ribbon with 2 Bronze Service Stars. After his honorable discharge, Sam returned home to Troy and his wife, Conchetta. There, they raised their daughter, Anne, 2 sons, Michael and Anthony. Samuel continued to use his skills as a metalsmith to work as a sheet metal worker in a local union in Albany. In 1967, he retired after a career that spanned over 40 years that included him teaching his trade to apprentices in vocational schools. In his spare time, Sam enjoyed gardening at his home in Sickaway, playing golf around the corner at Freer Park, and spending time with his loving family. Sadly, on March 29, 2008, Sam passed away, leaving behind his loving wife, Conchetta, who passed away in 2020, his children, Anne, Anthony, and Michael, his daughters-in-law, Linda, who worked at DMV with us for several years, and Clara, his son-in-law, Doug, his brother, Anthony, his grandchildren, Rachel, Anthony, David, Stephen, and Daniel, and his great-grandchildren, Lucas, Christian, Maria, Colin, and Jocelyn. Sam is interred at St. Mary's Cemetery in Troy. Sam was a member of what we now fondly refer to as the greatest generation. While he may not have been born in the United States, Sam was a proud and brave American who put his youth on hold to valiantly serve his country. Sam returned home, he started a family, went to work, just like tens of thousands of soldiers who helped make America the great country that it is today. On behalf of my colleagues in the legislature, I would like to thank Sam's family for allowing us to remember him here today. It is an honor for me to read his story, which I know is just a small token of what Sam had accomplished in his life as a husband, as a father, and forever a dedicated soldier to his country. And here in Rensselaer County, we want to thank you so much for allowing us to honor him today. Thank you. We have a couple of our legislators here, Kenny Harrington, who is our chair of our Veterans Committee, and also Colonel Tom Walsh. Would either of you or any of the other legislators like to say a couple words?
Sure, Tom.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Tom, you want to go ahead first? Tom will tell us a little bit about the wall out there.
Okay. Good morning. It's always good to see a large number of the family members here. Sam being in the Navy, he certainly was on a ship there that did a lot of work over in the Pacific, especially in the war zone. And I'm sure that they had a lot to do with the liberation of the Philippines. And apparently they were a ship that supported seaplanes. And it goes to show why they needed sheet metal guys there. Excuse me. I don't know if you noticed when you come in out there, we have a plaque on the wall. That's all the veterans we recognize for the last 20 years. There's over 200 veterans deceased veterans that we honor. Also on the right-hand side there's all our Medal of Honor winners from Rensselaer County. There's 14 of them. It's really a large number of Medal of Honor winners for this county. And I'm thankful. I had a lot to do with putting it up there. And I'm very proud to do that job. And I'm very proud to honor Sam today. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. As chairman of the Veterans Committee for the county legislature, it's my honor to present to you, the family of Samuel Abate, a copy of this proclamation honoring Sam for his service As I said, these folks are all part of that great generation. You know, I continually think about our history and those who volunteered. I mean, you hear I wasn't in the country, 10 years probably, and volunteered his service to defend the freedoms that, that you and I enjoy today. And I think it's very important that our schools work very hard to teach the generation we have today of what really happened and what's happened over the years, whether it was World War II was the big one, but we had Korea and Vietnam and those people that served to protect the freedoms, as I say, we had today. So I want to thank you for allowing us to honor Sam and present you with this proclamation on behalf of the entire legislature. Thank you.
Thank you all. I'll now ask our Rensselaer County Executive, Steve McLaughlin, to come forward.
Thank you, Tim. Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here this morning with our colleagues in federal and state and local government. Congressman McNulty, former Congressman McNulty, who was very instrumental in getting these started. Now other counties are doing what we're doing, so it's nice to see that spread. And welcome to Colonel Fisher from the Watervliet Arsenal. He has a nice southern accent. We'll see how that holds up in a New York winter up here. He said his sons are excited about being in cold weather. I'm like, we'll see. It gets pretty rough around here, but welcome, Colonel. Arsenal is a big part of our community, so welcome. Glad you're here. And to all of our colleagues. And reading through this, Jake and I were chatting. Sam was well suited. He was well trained already by the time he hit the Navy as a metalsmith. He could bend metal. He spent his whole career doing that. And that's not something that we see all the time. A lot of times the guys would go in and do something and then come out and pick up a whole different field. But he was in metalsmithing for a long, long time. And I can tell you, as a pilot myself, pilots have a habit of breaking airplanes. So we need guys that can fix them. And in that time, I mean, they were getting banged up all the time. They were under attack constantly. They were thrown together very quickly in the factories. They were building them as fast as they could. So it was guys like Sam that kept those pilots safe, kept those airplanes up in the air, and got them back on the ground safely. And you think about a seaplane operation in the middle of the Pacific Theater, pretty incredible stuff that he was able to see and thankfully live through. And then really like a Troy guy through and through. You know, came over here in Troy, spent his whole life here, and Freer Park golfer. He'd love it the way it is right now. The course looks gorgeous right now, by the way. But, you know, it's nice to see that he had a really nice long retirement as well, retiring in '67 and having a nice long retirement to enjoy his family and friends and this community. So we thank him for his service, and thank you for letting us honor him here today. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. I'll now ask Congressman Paul Tonko and Max Pram, who's representing the 19th Congressional District, to come forward.
Good morning, everyone. And Tim, thank you and the committee for the work you do with great thoroughness and great ceremonies and opportunities to say thank you to those who served before us and render us the people of freedom that we are. It's good to be with so many veterans and certainly active military. Colonel Fisher, good to see you again, and it was great to see that change in command. It was a great ceremony. And to be with former Congressman McNulty. Thank you, Mike, for planting the seeds for these great ceremonies that I get to do in several counties in the 20th Congressional District. So I think it's solely important for us to make certain that we hear the stories of these individuals of greatness. And certainly that of Anthony S. Abate is a powerful statement, inspiration, because as a land of so many immigrants, an ethnic, multi-ethnic quilt work that is a banner so unique in the world. And so many people bring their cultural aspects and their love of a former land to their new homeland or their new land of opportunity. And I'm certain that the Abate family, when Anthony traveled here, were in search of that American dream. And so he tethered his version of that American dream and was very loyal to this newfound land for the sake of joining the Navy and offering his skills as a metalsmith. So that training provided him an opportunity to exercise a strength and a giftedness that was shared so that we could remain free. And his undeniable patriotism to a rather new land for him is remarkable. It's noteworthy. And so this morning we say thank you to him for not only becoming a citizen of this country, but for having served it so well, and to then render that service as a metalsmith through Local 83, making certain that his work as a sheet metal artist would continue. Noted that he also trained so many people, so he shared that skill that he inherited through the service in the military, in the Navy, and strengthened and empowered a number of people. So this is a great story of selflessness, of strength, of courage, of undeniable patriotism. And the fact that he was recognized and had earned so many recognitions, decorations that, again, were well earned is a remarkable feat. So Anthony and Michael, it's a great opportunity to say thank you to your dad for his service in the Navy, in that Asia Pacific campaign, and making certain that he poured forth every bit of integrity and courage to be able to help us as he served on the Tangier. Also noted that those Bronze Stars, 2 Bronze Stars that he was decorated with, and the World War II Victory Medal speak to his significant contribution through the military. So we say thanks to him for being such a strength to this nation, to this community, and to his family. And he stands forever as an inspiration to us. Max Prime, who is representing the, as a former staffer to Congressman Delgado, is here on behalf of District 19, Congressional District 19, and both offices. Antonio and myself had asked that a flag be flown over our nation's capital in honor, in tribute, in memory to your dear dad. And may Anthony S. Abate long rest eternally in the hands of the Lord, and be rewarded for his great service in this world. So long may he live in spirit and in eternal life. God bless.
Thank you, Paul and Max. I will now ask New York State Assemblyman Jake Ashby to come forward.
Thanks, Tim. I want to say thank you to the family for being here. Thank you, Colonel Fisher. Thank you, Congressman McNulty. Thank you to the committee, Colonel Goebel and Lonnie for the tremendous job that they do here at Rensselaer County for all our veterans. And Sam certainly packed a lot into 42 to 45. There was a lot going on, and when you look at the bio, it took me a little while to get through it because so much had, was going on during that time. They were essentially tracking all of the, not all, but many of the major battles throughout the Pacific. And you could tell based on his profession there that, what he was doing is he was doing the patchwork, helping those planes stay active. And his ship, the Tangiers, was originally a cargo ship that they converted to a sea tender. And so even then, they made the best of that ship and had it go all throughout the Pacific. And then when he gets back, he spends 40 years as a sheet metal worker, which is amazing, continuing to help people when he gets back. And the other thing that I noticed and I wanted to mention was 60 plus years of marriage. 60 plus years of marriage after that. And the time that he put into that, the values that he instilled into his family, the lessons that he learned probably during that time, 42 through 45, that are still with you now. And you get to carry that forward. So on behalf of myself, my colleague John McDonald, really want to say thank you on behalf of the New York State Assembly.
Thank you, Jake. Will John Rotano of the Honor Deceased Veteran Committee please present the plaque? Other members, please rise. Just our members, our committee members. Sorry. Thank you, John. Please stand for our closing prayer. Retire the colors. And salute. This concludes our Honor Yvette ceremony for this month. Thank you for coming to honor our deceased veteran of the month of August, Samuel Abates. Please join us for our next Honor Yvette ceremony scheduled for September 12th in the honor of Dale R. Dick French. Before we go our separate ways, we'll take a few family photos up here. Then we will reassemble shortly at our county flagpole to raise the flag in Samuel's memory. Thank you all for coming.